So I got a question for you. What do you think is the hardest boss in Remnant 2? I've been wondering if the consensus is the same or are we all over the place, because that tends to happen with Souls-like games. One boss that we may think is very difficult, another may think is very easy. So I decided to take a look around the community along with the media to see what others ranked as the hardest boss, and the answers might surprise you. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of lists out there officially on websites or even YouTube videos. I found a few, but it was far and few between. However, of those ones I did see, I did notice one particular boss that got more than a few nods. The nerdstash.com and .esports both had this boss at number 2, and DualShockers had it at number 1 as the hardest boss of the game. Reddit also had many people saying this was their hardest as well. And that boss is none other than Shah Hala, the spectral guardian of Nerud. I was very curious as to why some people have this boss so high on their list, even harder than the final boss, or even Nightweaver for that matter, since I felt those two would be the most popular. But here we are, Shah Hala is getting attention. So I had to see for myself what the fuss was about, and if I could really melt this boss now that I have my plus 10 boss weapon, along with just being leveled up as I am. Since my campaign never actually presented this boss to me, I had to re-roll the adventure mode so I could start at the correct area and then make my way to this boss. Big thank you to Low Action Gamers for providing a video on how to do all of this. And so off I went to face Shah Hala, not once, but twice, since there's two forms of it. One form is by activating the console, and the other more difficult version is by using an item called the override pin. So here I am activating the lesser form first. I figured I'd go with the easier version first just to kind of see what I'm in for. And it was not difficult at all. To be honest, with my build as it is, my Nightfall weapon plus 10 and the mod that I have, I absolutely melted this boss on my second attempt. It really stood no chance. I collected my trophy and rewards, and then I re-rolled adventure mode again so that way I can go fight the greater form of this boss. And that's the one I really want to talk about because that's the one that people say is the hardest. The hardest in the game though? Oh, after experiencing my time with it, I find it hard to agree. Again, I have my build as it is, I've been leveling up, I have all this experience now, so of course take that into account. But it is pretty interesting to now experience this boss, and I'm going to show you some highlights. I'm going to show you my last attempt as well. And I do want to say I could see how it could be that difficult for others, especially earlier in the game. If you started in this area on your playthrough, it would make a lot of sense that this would be high on your list. For one, it's got bullet hell, so there's, projectiles that you have to watch out for. There's these fire beams that come down and you have to dodge through. And the boss itself actually does a lot of damage too. Even with me as leveled up as I am, I still took some serious damage when I was hit. But since I did not start in this area and never saw this boss through my whole campaign, I was off somewhere else being a weak being to those other bosses, right? Nightweaver, for example, was my first big boss that really gave me a lot of trouble and stuck it to me so bad that once I beat it, I had to make a how-to video immediately to help other people. So while I was doing that and leveling up and beefing up my character and just getting more experience, I gotta say that this boss, Shah Hala, was not very difficult much at all. It actually took me only 5 attempts, and once I got the dodges down on those beams and used my mod with the unlimited ammo and health regen, it was all over for Shah Hala. It is a really cool boss though, and I'm glad that I made the effort to see it. I also collected other rewards when I, made this trip, so I felt like it was really worth it in my opinion. I really love Remnant 2, even much more now after beating the campaign because I have all this replayability. The fact that I could go back and seek this boss out is actually really cool. Just such a good experience all around, so I wanted to document it and of course discuss it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think, and definitely tell me if you haven't already in that comment section who you think is the hardest boss in the game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.